What's up, everyone? It's Bones here. I'd like to begin this video by giving a huge shout out to TCG Player for the opportunity to be a part of their affiliate program. If you want to help a content creator out, all you have to do is click on the TCG Player link down below, and it won't cost you anything either. If you've kept up with my channel, you might be sick of the Horus cards, so this might be the last one that you see from them for a while, and I wanted to do this video because I think some of the concepts that we've seen recently with the Horus card unlock a new door for the comeback of Floodgates. While Eldlich may not be the most ideal engine due to the power level of today's decks, I think that it's a great example of how something like this could potentially be pretty threatening down the line, and with the release of more new powerful archetypes. So I'm going to start this one by using the King Sarcophagus, and you can see straight away we'll be able to amass advantage this way and even get a disruption with the Mudora in hand, as we'll then be able to send a few Horus names as we're going to get ourselves all 4 names into the graveyard. We'll then be able to revive 3. As we're going to go into our Coach King, you can also go into the Zombie Vampire, but I prefer to go into the Zombie Vampire for the follow-up rather than the turn 1, as usually on turn 1, especially with a hand like this, you can potentially draw into Floodgates. We have the Scarlet, we also have the other Scarlet in the graveyard, which will get us into a Golden Land Trap and stuff like that, but we're going to use the effect of the Coach King, get the Summon limit, which is already the first Floodgate. We'll then get a copy of Conch, which again isn't the greatest this format, but we do have Hawkero, which is actually pretty solid in this format because it hits the graveyard, and then coupling it with all the other Floodgates that you could potentially draw, along with the SP Little Knight that we make here, it can be pretty solid. That said, being able to Floodgate your opponent while having a bunch of potential 1-for-1s and the Mudora in graveyard, and all the follow-up that you get from the Horus cards, is where the potential that I was talking about earlier starts to really shine, in my opinion. Now, for the second hand, this time we drew the Keldo, but we have the Imseti, and we also have the Field Spell, which I actually don't think we'll be using in this particular hand because we don't need to. As we're then going to add ourselves the King Sarcophagus, we again draw into the summon limit, so that's really nice. We'll be able to send our other 2 names to the graveyard, as we'll then be able to go into our Coach King again, and just as previously, we're going to be able to draw 3, and you'll notice that there's not going to be a whole lot of comboing here, because all we're doing is using the Horus engine in order to get us into our trap cards. And I did want to talk about Cursed Eldland. You'll notice that I'm not playing it in the deck list, but I did want to do a replay with it just because King Sarcophagus is also a continuous spell, and when you have the Cursed Eldland on board, it means that you're not going to be able to set as many traps, so if you do choose to play the Cursed Eldland, you kind of have to be careful with that. That said, we're going to set 3, and then we'll be able to pass on to our opponent with the SP on board. Now, for this next one, you'll see that we got Skill Drain, and there can be only 1 this time around. We also have the Cursed Eldland. Again, if you don't want to play it, you don't have to. I'm not playing it in the final deck list for this video, but we're going to add ourselves the Hawkero. We can then normal summon the Mudora. We'll then be able to set 4, and like this, we pass on to our opponent, and hope that they really have nothing to out this, because if they don't have Evenly, Duster, Lightning Storm, or anything, it might be really hard to play around this, as the Skill Drain alone can auto-win some matchups, and then just having that there can be only 1 behind it. You've probably seen what Floodgates are able to do to this game when they're rampant, and having easy ways to draw into them via the Horus card and Coach King is just terrifying, in my opinion, especially the stronger that archetypes get and the more that trap decks may be released moving forward. Now, for the penultimate test hand, I know that this won't be a long video, and it's because I don't think it needs to be. It's really just a set 5 deck, and I want to explain some of the choices within the test hands, as you'll see that I am on the Awakening, and the reason being is because you can pitch it off the King Sarcophagus, get into your Golden Land Traps. You'll also be able to use its effect to special summon Golden Lord if you really need to, but just being able to get more of your traps to couple with your Floodgates, as you see we have a Skill Drain in hand, is really powerful. As we're going to bring back our Horus cards, we'll then be able to go into the Coach King with Skill Drain already in hand, so we'll then draw into another Himseti. We'll then be able to get another draw, which gets us into the Hawkero, and from here we can get our final draw to get us the Conch. We'll then be able to go into our SP, and with that, we'll set 2, go on to the end phase where we can use the effect of Hawkero so that we can get our Scarlet on board, and now we have the Skill Drain, the Scarlet, the Conch, along with the Hawkero in hand, and some follow-up via the Imseti and the Hawkero in hand. Now, for the final one, we happen to draw the Imseti along with Hawkero goods and the Summon limit. We do draw a Horus name, which doesn't really matter because we can pitch it off the Imseti, and it just gives us 2 names that we can summon immediately, just in case anything happens to our Sark, as long long as it's not removed from the field, but we're going to send the water one. We'll then be able to revive all three as we're going to go into our Coach King. We do this so that we don't have to send any of the cards in hand that we don't want to, and immediately we draw a Keldo, so we can pitch that for the Gold Sark, which is way better than what we had. So we'll then be able to draw another card, which we get a skill drain. From here, we'll be able to draw our King Sarcophagus. We'll be able to revive the Happy, go into our SP. Now we'll be able to set 3 as we're going to activate the goods. Send the Black Goat Laughs, which I think is another great card in this deck, just because it's something that you can not only send off of goods, but even if you draw it, it's not bad. As we're going to get ourselves the Scarlet, and now not only do we have our 2 Floodgates with the summon limit and skill drain, but we have Scarlet, we also have the Hawk, Black Goat Laughs, which is going to be another interruption, potential kind of negate during your opponent's turn, and then we also have the Keldo with the SP. So with all of the test hands out of the way, we can get onto the deck profile, and all this is just a bunch of trap cards with the Horus engine. As seen in the deck, it's really not too complicated. The only thing that you need to know really is probably the extra deck options, where you have the BLS in order to make it indestructible and untargetable. Your opponent can't potentially hit this with something like Princess, or really anything else that targets or destroys. But then we also have the Dark, and I chose Dark over the other Charmers just because I feel this one is the only one that we can make that will actually be able to revive something at the moment, as long as we're in a fire-heavy format. That said, I do think that Lina could become an option after we get all the light support that we're supposed to get, depending on how powerful that is. Then we just have a bunch of rank 10s and level 8s or rank 8s that we use for the Horus engine, and 2 Golden Lords if you happen to go into a rank 10. Then I would also like to point out that we are going to get that rank 10 Omni Negate, Valdroth I think it's called, in Legacy of Destruction, and that's going to be another option that you can play here. You'll notice the Lieb is here just for Zeus. I also would like to go over the side deck options that we have here. I'm not maining the Cursed Eldlin, so this is something else that you can do. Cosmic Cyclone is something that you'll want to play, and something that you'll kind of want to watch out for, as it is a popular card this format, and it's something that can blow you out, especially if you don't have many traps left, or your opponent just has ways to bait the other ones. Then there's stuff like Evenly and Duster that I would like to talk about. These are going second cards that you can play along with the Nib and the Sphere Mode. Really depends on what you want to play though. The Sphere Mode is nice because we don't really normal summon in this deck, while the Nibiru is just powerful in this format overall. But outside of that, I don't have much else to say. Really, the test hands showed all I was trying to do with this deck, and you're going to be doing the same thing over and over when you're not setting 5, as the best way to get better with this deck, in my opinion, is just through experience, as the learning curve isn't too high. That said, I'll just get onto the card by cards, and we have the 3 Imseti, the 1 Water Horus, the 1 Wind Horus, and the 1 Earth Horus. We then have the 3 King Sarcophagus, the 3 copies of Scarlet, the 3 copies of Huaquero, the 3 copies of Conch, the 1 copy of Foolish Burial Goods, which we play just 1 because we have the 2 Black Goat Laughs, and then we have the ability to just send all of these off of the Foolish Burial Goods, which is just great, along with the White Destiny and the Black Elixir, 2 copies of Golden Lord, and the 1 copy of the Stonewall of Imperial Tombs, the 3 copies of Solemn, 1 There Can Only Be One, the 1 Goes and Match, the 1 Rivalry, the 3 Summon Limits, the 3 Skill Drains, Keldo and Mudora if I didn't say them. Then we have the Photon Lord, we then have the Buzz King, Dingirsu, we then have Hope, Zombie Vampire, Coach King, Dreadnought Cannon, the Lieb, we then have Typhon, Zeus, SP Little Knight, Dark, Masquerena, the BLS Link, and Underworld Goddess to wrap up the deck profile. So for everyone who's made it this far, I'd like to thank you for watching, and for the 700 plus subscribers. I truly appreciate your support, and now that we've monetized the channel, giving us access to supers and memberships means that more awesome stuff is on the horizon. To get the channel membership, just click on the description below, and there will be a link that takes you there. You'll also notice a free Discord link that I've made for us too. If you want to support me as a content creator, even if you can't donate supers or get a membership for the channel, clicking on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons help a lot too. For those wondering, I do plan on making updates to the channel as the support on the channel grows. Anyways, I hope to see you on the next one. It's Bones, signing out.